number 11, Makazole Mapimpi, number 12, Damian Dalende, number 13, Lucanio Am, number 14, Cheslin Colby, number 15, Willie Leroux. And then the bench, number 16, Malcolm Marx, number 17, Steven Kitsoff, number 18, Frans Malherbe, number 19, Louis de Jager, number 20, Reinhard Alstedt, number 21, Herschel, number 22, Elton, and number 23, Damian Willemse.
Thank you, Jacques. And now for a few questions, over to our SuperSport presenter, Matthew Pierce.
Thank you, Rayan. Good afternoon, Jacques. If we can zero in on a couple of selections to start, most notably Makazole Mapimpi and Louis de Jager, who haven't seen any action so far in the games that they were potentially available for. Just your thoughts on those two being match ready.
Yes, no, Matt. Yes, unfortunately, due to circumstances and COVID circumstances, they weren't part of the 3 preparation games or test matches that we played. But we believe that obviously they've been part of our squad since 2018 extensively. You know, so we've worked with them for a couple of for a nice long time, and we're comfortable that they will slot in.
The Lions got a boost with the return of Alan Wynne-Jones as their tour captain. How important was it for you to be able to name Siya Kolisi in the starting 15 and as your captain for Saturday's first test?
No, Matt, very important. You know, he's again, he's been a player that we work with for quite some time. He knows our structures. He knows what we're trying to do from an on-field rugby perspective, and then obviously he's been our captain. So yes, it's always nice to bring some calmness to us or to the squad. So yeah, very happy to have him back.
You spoke about the time spent together. 17 players in this 23 who played in the Rugby World Cup final in 2019. 4 additional squad members, and only 2 of the 23 who weren't at that World Cup. How important has that been in terms of familiarity and getting over this barrier of not having a lot of game time?
Yeah, very important, Matt. Like I said, obviously they've been part of us since 2018, since we started working with the squad, the majority of them, you know, and obviously in 2019, working right 3 weeks, 4 weeks before Rugby Championship, working with this group, staying together through Rugby Championship, and then obviously continuing into the World Cup. So, due to the fact that for various reasons we haven't had we haven't had any games in 2020, you know, and we had just limited games available in preparation for this test series. So obviously selecting players that have been in the system, that know what you want to do, and is quite important. And I think that played a big part in the selection.
You've always had plenty to choose from in front row, Jacques, and this no different. What were the considerations around who would start and who would come off the bench?
I must say, Matt, with the quality of front rows that we have available for selection, we probably, and when we have a discussion with our front rowers, I mean, we almost see them as a pairing, you know. Is it more important to start and sing the anthem, or to be on the field where the final whistle goes? I mean, they know that we work in tandem together, and they've got a specific role that they have to play. If you start, you've got certain things that you have to achieve, and then if you come off the bench or in the bomb squad, as they were named in the World Cup, then you have a specific role to fulfill. So the players understand it like that, and they bought into it, and hats off to them for doing that. And so yeah, we see our front row probably as a pairing, if I can put it like that.
Yeah, you've referred to the bomb squad. No 6-2 split this time out for the Springboks. Your thinking behind that and going with the 3 backs on the bench?
Yeah, and that probably purely because if you look at I mean, Andre hasn't been involved in a lot of rugby. We will go with a 6-2 split if it's available to us, and if we feel that we're confident. But I think if Andre hasn't played a lot, he's just come back from COVID. Mapimpi the same. So I think we just thought that, listen, it's probably not the right time to probably just go with 2 backs on the bench.
Just final one from me, Jacques. Interesting. There's been quite a lot of banter between director of rugby and Lions head coach. We've seen it play out. The fact that you brought this announcement forward a day, is that a strong statement from you to say, well, this is our selection. We're not afraid to make it known, and we're comfortable to get it out in the open.
Yeah, yes, Matt. I think just from a logistical perspective, if the team knew the team on Monday, so irrespective if we announce it on a Wednesday, on a Tuesday, I mean, the players knew who was starting and who's starting 23 on Monday. There was a couple of players that were bracketed, obviously, to make sure that everybody get through the first training session, but we are as transparent as we can be with the players, and we just felt that, listen, moving it earlier or probably easier to get it out of the way in terms of once we are comfortable with this is the squad that we're gonna, or the team that we're gonna go to. I don't think there's anything. How can I say? There's not any strategic thinking or anything like that in terms of bringing it a day forward. It's just, listen, the players knew already, so we can just as well put it out to the public.
Thank you, Jacques. Thank you, Rayon.
Thank you, Matthew, and thank you, Jacques, for announcing the squad. And I will now shortly open the proverbial floor for questions. But if I can just ask, please, if Owen and Martin Gillingham, if you can please switch off your cameras so that we can proceed, if you can hear me. Thank you. Clearly, they can't hear me. Right, so we will proceed. And Craig Ray, you up for the first question? Thank you.
Thank you, Rayon. Hello, Jacques, and congratulations on your Lions team. Just the bench. Do you envisage the bench playing, for longer periods because of what's happened with COVID? Do you expect, instead of maybe the usual sort of 20, 25 minutes, you might be looking at more like 30 or 35 minutes for the bench players under the circumstances, and given the lack of match practice for a lot of the starting 15? Thanks.
Craig, no, listen, the bench is, the moment the players also know it might be at 20 minutes. We at the moment the players on the field is not producing his required or fulfilling his required role. Not necessarily always that he's making mistakes or anything like that, but they all 1 to 15 who's starting has got a specific role to play, and the moment they don't fulfill that role anymore due to they're tired or due to COVID or haven't been exposed to rugby for some time, I mean, that's when we will make a substitution. So, but if a player fulfills his role up to minute 80, I mean, there's no reason to substitute him. So I don't. The players know it. Listen, you've got a specific role to play, and the moment we see a drop off of that role, then we will probably look to substitute that.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jacques. Thank you, Craig. And our next question will come from Heinz Schenk. Good afternoon, Hein.
Thanks, Rayon. Middag, Jacques. Congrats on the team. I just wanted to ask, there was obviously now a fair amount of interest on not going for a 6-2 split on the bench, which you obviously explained very clearly to us. I just wanted to ask then, how important does a guy like Reinhard Alstad become? Because I mean, he sort of gives you the luxury of basically doing everything. I mean, he can be lock, he can be almost like a fetching type of flank. It can be a blindside flank. It can be eighth man. So you must be really happy to have that luxury of him on the bench, given that you had to include 3 backs.
Yeah, again, listen, the thing about a 6-2 split, if it's available to us and if we're comfortable, we will go with a 6-2 split. We felt in this specific game, it wasn't an opportunity for us. And yes, Reinhard Elstedt does provide us with that luxury to go with a 6-2 split, and it's maybe something that we would look at going in the future. So yes, again, circumstances and players available and the roles that they need to fulfill, and maybe some players carrying a little bit of an injury, or not an injury, but they carry a niggle, and you're not 100% sure if he or confident that he would last the 80 minutes, then you probably would not go with a 6-2 split. And let's say you have a back that you are doubtful about him probably lasting the full 80, or maybe struggling with a niggle, and you're not comfortable with that, or maybe struggling with confidence or whatever, then you might not go the 6-2 split.
Thank you, Jacques. And Nick Heath, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. Jacques, 11 of this side started the Rugby World Cup final against England. What do you hope that they can bring, given that experience in that pressure cooker environment? Yeah, probably what you just said is that, that experience, if you think, I think if you look at the starting team, there's over 500 test caps, and in that starting team. So, so that's probably what you're looking for, is a guy who's been there before, that will understand what pressure, because it's going to be a massive game in terms of pressure, and you need players that's been there before, that have been exposed to that has felt it before. We can try during the week to put them under as much pressure as we can, but ultimately, playing a test match and playing in that environment is the only the real thing, So I think that's probably what we're looking for, is for those players who's been there before, to give us guidance and steadiness and a calm head, and find solutions, because I think there will be a couple of new pictures that will be thrown our way, and we will have to be forced to make solutions on the day. And probably with that team and with the experience that we have, we're looking for them to provide us with that. And just another quick one, if I may. The Lions, you've obviously been able to see them through some games, through the South Africa A game, but are you able to, while you focus on yourselves, as I know you may say, but are you able to have any idea as to how they're going to play against you on Saturday? No, I think that's probably, if you look at Warren and the team and his coaching team and the squad that I've selected, there's I've said it before, there's multiple ways that they can look at the game. They can go with the aerial bombardment, they can go with the outpassing, outflanking game, they can come direct. It will probably determine on their team selection. So that's probably the big challenge for us, is they've selected a squad that is very versatile, and they can play multiple styles, or they can confront us with multiple styles, So that's going to be probably one of the big challenges that I'm looking forward to, is to see and how we can handle that. And that's why I say, if you look at the squad or the team that we selected, that team will have to make solutions, find solutions in the game, because I think we're going to be tested on multiple fronts. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Jacques. And Daniel Schofield, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Jacques. I was hoping to ask, the selection of Kwagga Smith at number 8, obviously quite a different style of number 8 to Dwayne and what we've seen previously from the Springboks. How do you think that will change the balance of your back row?
Yeah, I think if one looks at a guy like Kwagga, if you look, let's look at a guy like Dwayne. Dwayne is a guy that can get momentum and stop momentum, and obviously he's a big boy, he's a heavy guy, and he gets momentum and stop momentum on a specific way. know, but a guy like Kwagga does exactly the same for us, just maybe a little bit different. You know, Kwagga comes from a sevens background, probably gets momentum with his evasion, with his skill set, his evasive skill set, which you've learned in sevens, you know, where they also have to handle Fijian players, big players. So he's developed a skill set over the years. And he probably gives us, although people will look at it and say, how can you say that? But he probably gives the same to us, you know, just in a different style, in a different way. And you think about Dwayne defensively, good reader of the game. He's got a good poaching ability, his ability to slow down ball. And Kwagga possesses the same skill set. And like I say, probably just a little bit different. But yes, it is a different look that we normally have in back row. But again, we were comfortable with Kwagga. He fulfilled that role for us in the World Cup as well. And quite looking forward to see him playing there. And people forget, I mean, in 2019, when we played against New Zealand in New Zealand, Kwagga was also in that team, partnered up with Dwayne. Sia was injured at that stage. So, and that's a nice thing of Kwagga. He probably covers us at 6, 7, and 8.
Thank you, Jacques. And our next question goes to Fatima Said.
Thanks, Rayan. Good afternoon, Jacques. Jacques, I just had a question. Just in terms of your selection, obviously in your pairing, you chose Sia and Hande as your vice captain. Was your thinking behind that just to give everyone, I think, in the squad an equal opportunity for those decision-making roles, opposed to Lucanio, Alton, or Stephen Kitsoff?
No, I think the main thing, Sia has been our captain, and he's been announced captain of this British and Irish Lions squad. So just consistency and keeping him there. That's the first thing. And Andre was our vice captain in 2019 as well. And again, Fatima, in our team, we've got multiple leaders. You know, we've got we've got probably 6 or 7. That run specific departments, you know. So although Sia might be captain, he's got specific areas that he has to look at or control. Damien Dalende will be a strong leader even guys on the bench. I mean, Damien and Reinhard is in charge of certain facets of our game. Reinhard Alstead, that is So yes, there is. Although there's a captain and a vice captain, their main roles is probably communication with the referees on the day. But running the show on the field, there's multiple captains or game drivers, if I can put it like that.
Thank you, Jacques. Thank you, Fatima. And if I can just ask Andrew McKenna, who has joined us late, if you can just please switch off your camera, thank you, so that we can proceed. We move on, and our next question will come from Tinus van Staden. Hello, Tinus.
Hello, how's it, guys? Jacques, just 2 quick questions. The first one is, Trevor struggled a bit in the scrums in the games that he's played. Are you worried about that? And the second one is, it looks like the Lions on attack, they stagger a few players behind each other. It's first receive it, then play out at the back, probably to counter the rush. How are you planning to counter something like that?
Okay, on the Trevor one, I'm sure Dawn would have sorted that out. So yeah, no, very comfortable with Trevor at tight head. Like I say, he's got a specific role that he has to fulfill, and he knows what that is, and very comfortable with him there. In terms of the attack, like I said, they've got that's why if you look at their squad, and if you look at the squad they selected, and they are the best of the best of the 4 top nations in the world combined together. So obviously the skill set that they possess is multiple. You know, if the fly-off struggles, they might let's say he might be the number 1 fly-off in Wales. If he struggles, they just take the number 1 fly-off of England. If he struggles, they just take the number 1 fly-off of Scotland. So that
that is the big challenge of the British and Irish Lion Tour. And Gregor is a very creative, out of the box attacking coach. So yes, there will be. They've got multiple options: inside, outside, out of the back. Can go over you, like I said, with a attacking kicking game. They can go around you with multiple passing game, and they can come through you if they go with and decide to go with big, strong. Can I say more direct centre pairing? So yeah, and even if you look at Duan, I mean, they can bring him in inside, outside, creative tens. He's a big boy, carries hard, can penetrate you. So yeah, they've got multiple options.
Thank you, Jacques. And we're going to take one or two more questions, and then we will move on. And Ken Boland, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Round. Thanks very much. Afternoon, Jacques. I think a lot of people, just based on the three warm-up games, were maybe expecting Kobus Reinach to be back up to Faf on the bench. Could you just talk us through what went into selection there, please?
No, listen, Kobus was phenomenal for us in the games that he played, and I think we are very fortunate in South Africa to have a quality three scrum halves like we have currently. I mean, yes, you can put him. He can start in Saturday's test, and there won't be an eyebrow that would be raised. You know, that's the quality of Kobus, and as the same for the other two players. I think if you start the test match with Herschel, people won't raise an eyebrow, and if you start it with Faf. So I think we're fortunate in that sense, and unfortunately for Kobus, we went with this pairing. But I mean, they also know. Listen, if they don't, and probably if you think about it, Ken, it's probably consistency. You know, selection and building on that. But it doesn't. I mean, he's banging on the door very hard, and kicking his way through. And I think that's nice for us in the squad that we have currently, you know. This massive pressure coming from all over. So the big challenge, yes, Saturday is going to be a massive challenge, but the biggest challenge is to get name in the starting 23 or the playing 23. That's the first battle we have to win in this squad that we have currently. So that's always a nice thing to have.
Thank you, Jacques. And we move on swiftly to Asfaq Mohammed. Good afternoon, Asfaq.
Thanks, Rayan, and hi, Jacques. Selection of Ox Nche. Think some may regard it as a surprise, but he's really come along well since he's been back in the box setup. Just your thinking there with Kitshoff on the bench, and do you think you can still get that bomb squad effect despite only having 5 forwards?
Yeah, yes, definitely. And like I said, I think Ashfaq, we see our front rows. I mean, as almost, if I can say, as a pairing, as a unit. You know, Ox has got specific things that he has to achieve starting the game for us. And then obviously Kitsi coming off the bench has some different attributes and a different skill set that he brings to the game that he has to bring into the mix in the second half. And I mean, we could have just gone with Kitsi starting and Ox off the bench. Oxy brings nice line speed, good dynamism. He's a loose head that can chase with loose forwards in the chase line in a kicking game, you know. So it's just, and it's not unfortunate. It's just we see it like that. The players understand it like that. So there's a specific role that we think Ox, or not think, that we want Ox to achieve for us. The same with Trevor. And then obviously we would look to bring on Kitsi and to bring on Frans Malherbe in the second half. And they've got a specific role and a specific skill set that they have to bring to the party. So we are fortunate that we have quality props and a quality front row. I mean, you can say the same between Bongi and Malcolm, you know. So we have a quality right throughout the board, and those two specific front rows. You can just swap them around, and nobody would. The same thing as what I said with the nines. Nobody would even raise an eyebrow. But that's the way. That's the best. Obviously, we think that the best way it will serve the Springboks and serve us in getting a result. And that's the way we went. You can swap them around, but there won't be any weaknesses doing it the other way around.
Thank you, Jacques. And we will conclude your session with a question from Percival Young.
Riaan Adriaanse, ek sê vir jou baie dankie vir die geleentheid. Jacques, goeiemiddag, baie geluk met jou span. Jacques, net kortlik ter opsomming, meneer, kan jy vir ons verduidelik jou denkwyse agter hierdie 23-tal, veral met die feit dat jou kaptein gesond en fiks verklaar is en natuurlik Makazole Mapimpi en dan Lode Jager asseblief meneer die afrigter sal baie waardeer. Baie dankie, Riaan.
In Afrikaans, net Percy.
Ek sal dit groot waardeer meneer die afrigter.
Okay, goeiemiddag Percy. Ja, weet jy Percy, ja, as mens kyk na die span wat ons gekies het, ek dink die eerste ding wat jou opval is daar's baie spelers wat vir 'n lang tyd betrokke was by ons, van 2018 vanaf ek betrokke was by die Bokke. So ons het 10-1, ons het gegaan met ervare spelers wat ervare is in die manier hoe ons dinge doen. As jy kyk na die hoeveelheid toets caps wat begin, is dit 500, oor die 500 toetscaps, jy weet, ek dink daar's amper 700 in die span, in die 23, so ervaring was vir ons nogal belangrik, en ek dink die rede daarvoor is maar, jy weet, ons het van die wêreldbeker af het ons vir 'n lang tydperk nie saam gespeel nie, maar baie van hierdie spelers het al saam met ons gewerk, so hulle het 'n goeie idee wat ons wil bereik en waarvoor ons gewerk het. En van hulle, ek moet sê, ons is al by mekaar van, ek dink van die 5de Junie af. Ja, van die 5de Junie af in Bloemfontein werk ons al saam met hulle. So ek dink dit het 'n groot gewig gedra in die groep wat ons gekies het. Ja, baie bly om Makazole en vir Sia terug te hê. Ja, hulle was net ongelukkig om nie betrokke te wees in die 3 games wat ons gespeel het tot op hede nie, as gevolg van COVID wat hulle opgedoen het, maar baie bly om hulle terug te sien en dat hulle fiks is en deur al hulle toetse gekom het en deur hulle die nodige maatreëls wat getref is, of wat ons moes tref om hulle deur te kry. So ja, baie opgewonde om te sien hoe hierdie groep gaan doen Saterdag.
Bye, thank you, Jacques. Thank you very much, Jacques. Thank you, Percy. Ladies and gents, that then concludes the first part of our team announcement press conference. For the benefit of our English audience, Jacques just gave a very brief summary of his team announcement and walking Percy through some of the selections and the preparation of the team heading into the test match. I say very thank you to Jacques, and he will now make way for Bongi and Banambi, and Bongi and Jacques, obviously their comments are available for immediate usage. Then we will have 2 more players, and I will explain to you in terms of the embargo once